All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to my stream. It's been forever. I've been super busy with a lot of work stuff. And now I'm streaming from a new install here that I've just barely gotten configured and everything a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if everything's going to go great. I had a little bit of a delay there as I was doing the stream starting because Twitter now does streaming a little bit different. So you don't just go directly to Periscope and then have that embedded in your Twitter stream like before. There's a few extra steps. We're going to see how that works. Today I just wanted to kind of do a live stream just to connect with you, the folks that like watching my live streams. It's been a few weeks, been really busy at work, and I just kind of wanted to reconnect. And I didn't really have a good theme or a good super crazy productive thing to do. So today we're going to do something very serious, very heavy enterprise coding, and we're going to play Elevator Saga, which is this game that I used to play years and years ago. It's a coding game. Please don't laugh at me. There are some folks out there that play Elevator Saga and write code for it that are fantastic. I mean, they're amazing. I'm not one of those people, but I do enjoy it. So I figure if I can come on stream here and play the game and maybe get some input from the chat like, hey, you should do this, or hey, you should do that, then that's what we're going to do. And we'll see how many people we can get into our elevators. Let's jump right in here. Here's my, I got Visual Studio Code open. This is Elevator Saga. So if you don't know what Elevator Saga is, it's an elevator programming game. It's in JavaScript, and the whole point is to try to move as many people among these elevators as you can. It's harder than it seems. So if we do this here, we'll hit start and I'll show you kind of how it works. As you can see, we've got some folks trying to use the elevator here. And for the first challenge, we have to transport 50 people in 60 seconds or less, which is fine. They give you a little bit of example code. And as you probably noticed, it's not going up to that floor 2 yet. And there is some documentation here. We are going to open that in a new tab because we're going to rely on the documentation. I feel like it's been like almost a decade since I've played this game. And it may have been at least 7 years since I've played this game, probably. As you can see, my challenge failed. Maybe your program needs an improvement. Anyway, this is what we're going to do. I've just noticed that my camera is just a little bit off. Super technical adjustments here. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to connect with my streaming audience again. There's a few of you that come onto my streams every time. There's a few of you that watch the streams later after they're done and then email me about it or hit me up on Twitter. So just kind of wanted to reconnect and do some streaming again, but I didn't have anything really super creative or productive to do. So I figured, well, we'll just play this elevator game. So let's just jump right in. Now, one of the things that I do with this is, and I've already got Visual Studio open here. We'll bring it over here. I've already got Visual Studio open with a test.js. I do like to pull my code out of the browser. This isn't the best experience ever right here. So sometimes I do like to just open up Visual Studio to pull all this code in. Now they give you some code. When you first go to play.elevatorsaga.com, they give you this first bit of code, and there's an init function here that runs, and we only have one elevator for this first one, and then we have an elevator on event. So whenever the elevator's idle, which means it's not doing anything, then it's going to go to floor 0, go to floor 1, and we can immediately see that there is a floor 2. Actually, I don't know if we need to go that far, but we'll go ahead and apply that, and we'll run it, and let's see if it does it with all of the floors working. Do a quick tech check here to make sure that I am on live where I want to be online. Looks like I'm online on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch. That's all I wanted. Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Good enough. And I'll leave the chat open because I do think that that you folks will have some excellent advice. So as we can see here, it says success. Challenge completed, next challenge. Now if we go to the next challenge, it's going to give us more floors. Here's the thing. You can speed this up. This is one of the things that I remember from way back in the days. You can speed it up like this, and you can run it several times. Now I like to be able to run this thing like 10 times in a row before I know that it's good and I want to go to the next level. So right now, if we look at this, all our elevator is doing, so the whole point, I'll slow it back down to 1, restart, and we'll go. Now the whole point is you're trying to move as many people as you can possibly. You've got 3 floors, you've got 1 elevator. As soon as somebody presses the up button, it'll go up and get them. And then they select the floor that they want. This person just selected floor 0. And so you're just trying to move as many people as possible. Now this gets a lot harder than you might think, especially when you get into multiple elevators, multiple floors. There's a load limit. So back in the past, I don't even remember what level I got to, but it was way up there. Started to get too many people on the elevators, and there was a load limit there. So we probably won't get that far tonight, but as you can see, we're doing pretty well. We've got 3 floors, 1 elevator, and we're managing things pretty good. And all I did here was I made it go to floor 2. So let's run this a few more times. If we feel good about it, then we will go on to the next one. And it won't always show you success. That's why I go over and over. Is there'll be times you'll do it and it'll say fail and you'll want to do something else. But yeah, we're doing good. I mean, we're moving 15 people in 60 seconds or less. So let's jump to the next challenge. Now we've got 5 floors here. So of course, if we run this, we've got those two floors up there. We're trying to transport 20 people now. And this might pass, but probably not, just because we don't have those 2 floors. And they're kind of piling up there. And so let's just do what we did last time and let's add those floors. We now have a floor 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So we'll add 3 and 4. We'll apply it. Oh, we still got a challenge failed. So clearly we need to do something other than just going up and down the floors. And that's where the challenge comes in here. That's where things get a little bit tricky, right? Is we need to move a lot of people from these floors. And I just turn it up to 55 basically to run tests. Most of the time I do it at 1. So let's take a look at it. So we have 1. This person gets on. They want to go to floor 0. And as you can see, we're keeping her on that elevator probably longer than we should. And then we just skipped number 2 there, who's been sitting and waiting. Not the most efficient way to go. Let's check out the documentation. So your task is to program the movement of elevators by writing a program in JavaScript. The goal is to transport people in an efficient manner. Depending on how well you do it, you can progress through the ever more difficult challenges. So here we have the basics. We have an init and an update. Now the update's a little bit more advanced, but it says do more stuff with elevators and floors. DT is the number of game seconds that have passed since the last time update was called. And here we can do elevator go to floor. That's a function that we've called out before. We'll go back to it. See how I went 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if the elevator's idle, it's just going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's going to return back to 0 when it's done. So the elevator go to floor function is pretty self-explanatory. Tell the elevator to move to floor 1 after completing other tasks. So you can say if elevator current floor, that's another function there. And you can see what the current floor is, and that's pretty useful. Listening for events. We have a elevator object, and when it's idle, we will do these things, which for us is just go through the floor sequentially. We also have on floor button pressed. So if the floor button is pressed, we can do that. We can grab that floor number that they've pressed. And then we have another one here, listen for up button pressed. So let's take a look at our elevator functions here. These are kind of interesting. And this is a really fun game. It's surprisingly fun, actually. When you start really getting into it, it gets challenging. Like I said, I don't remember the levels I used to get up to back in 2010 or whenever when I played this, but it gets really tricky to where, you know, I've spent hours trying to figure this stuff out. So here we have our go to floor function. Now we can do go to floor equals true. That means do it before anything else. And this documentation explains it pretty clearly, actually. You can say elevator go to floor 3, do it after anything else. So after it's processed everything and we're like, yeah, cool, we're idle, we're not doing much, let's just do this. Or you can say true and you can say go to floor now. I want you to go to floor 2 now. You can do elevator stop. And then if elevator current floor equals something, you can do something special. There's a going up indicator, gets or sets the going up indicator, which will affect passenger behavior when stopping at floors. So I haven't used the indicators a ton. The maximum passenger count will absolutely come in as you advance through the levels. Same thing as load factor. Like if this elevator is almost full, there's destination direction, destination queue, which is an array, kind of. It's more of an object, but it's an array. And then you can check it. We can get pressed floors. So one of the things I think we could do is we could grab this one here and we could just go by the floor button is pressed. Like if somebody presses a button to go to a floor, we'll do something. That is probably a good place to start. All I have to do is remember where to place this event. I think it's right here. And one of the things that I will do is open up the console. You can use the JavaScript console with this, which is super helpful. So let's go ahead and say console.log pressed elevator button. And we'll add that to floor num. Apply. And you can see pressed elevator button 2. At some point, somebody pressed elevator button 2. We can just kind of watch that console. You can also clear the console out, so. Right now, I'm just a little bit angry with Chrome, so I'm looking for other browser alternatives. One of the reasons, I'll tell you why I'm angry with Chrome. And this might get the chat all fired up. Chrome has been awesome. I've been using Chrome for 10 years probably. It's super fast. I'm not a huge fan of how much memory it uses all the time, but I've got all my plugins in it. And one of the biggest things I love about Chrome is I can save all my bookmarks and all my plugins. So no matter which machine I jump on, I can log into Gmail and get all those things. Well, 9 months ago, approximately, Google decided they're not going to support Chromium anymore. And Chromium is what I'm using when I'm in Linux. So then all of a sudden I don't have any of my bookmarks, I don't have any of my plugins. And yeah, I can go in and add them all back in, but I just really don't like that. It seems like Google's somewhat hostile towards Chromium, and I'm not really sure why, because it's, you know, it's all open source. Everybody should be friendly with each other, but for some reason, Google has been pretty hostile towards Chromium, which is what I'm using here. I have Chromium right here with my Restream chat and Restream and everything, but now Chromium doesn't import all of those things, so I'm a little angry about that. A little upset, so now I'm trying to look for something else. I've been using Firefox a lot lately. I've been using Brave. I use Edge when I'm in Windows. Edge is actually a pretty awesome browser, believe it or not. When you go into Windows and start using Edge and you start getting comfortable with it, it's actually an awesome browser. It's super fast, doesn't use a ton of memory. But I haven't tried to put Edge on my Linux machine yet. So here, the only thing that we've been echoing out so far is press the elevator button. So one thing we could do is just elevator go to floor based on that event. So every time somebody presses an elevator button, we'll just go to that floor. Whoops. And let's see how that works. And I should probably put another console log in there, but somebody pressed elevator button 0, so now we're going to go to 0. And this one almost feels like we're kind of getting lucky, right? Because we happen to go to a floor with a bunch of people on it. And I'm kind of doing a tech check on everything, and it looks like my Twitter stream isn't doing so great. That's all right. I'm mostly focused on Twitch, and Twitch seems to be doing good. So let's speed this up a little bit and see if I'm going to succeed. Nope, I failed. Restart. I think we're probably coming close, but we're still failing. Oh, there we go. There's a success. But I need to get more than just a couple of lucky successes. So there's 3 in a row. There we go. 3 in a row and then 4. So let's slow it back down and figure out what we're doing wrong. Now here, they wanted to go to level 3. Now they're at level 3 and they're off. It just went up to 4 for no reason. So maybe I should have it go down to 0, because 0 seems to have more people on it. This one, these people want to go to 0 and they just happen to be picking up people along the way. So maybe going to 0 is a good default. Let's try that. And we will start using a queue of some type. We'll apply. Our new changes. Now we're running it again. And so now it should go to 0, but unfortunately it looks like we're still kind of going through the loops there. So we're using that 0 as a default. And as we watch, the elevator is going where the people are telling it to go. But it's kind of going back to 0. Now we've got a number 4, so it should be going up there eventually. It looks like it's completely ignoring floor 4. Not a great idea, folks. There we go. Now we've got the 4 coming up. We did 18 people, which is almost there. but I do feel like we need something a little bit different. So what do we want to do when the elevator's idle? You can already tell there's enough people on here and enough floors that it's probably not going to be idle at any point, but let's think it out. Let's drop this into Visual Studio Code to make it a little bit easier to visualize. So if the floor button is pressed, we are going to take that floor number, say pressed elevator button, floor num. Let's change the messaging just a little bit so it makes more sense. We are going to floor blank. And then we'll go to that floor. Now we need to figure out, what do we do from there? Should we grab another event? Let's kind of look at our code. Let's see. Triggered when an elevator stopped at a floor. So we could grab a couple of these. Let's see if up button is pressed. Maybe tell an elevator to go to this floor. Get pressed floors, check destination queue. Let's take a look at this destination queue, It's going through here. Because this might be something good for us to look at. So we'll check that destination queue on a init. But when someone hits the floor, we are going to floor number let's say destination queue plus JSON stringify that elevator destination queue. Let's see if this works. Apply. Oh, there's a problem with your code. It cannot access check destination queue, which is kind of interesting. Let us see why that method is not accessible. Elevator is undefined. That is because we define it right there. Okay, so we'll apply and let's run this one. And you can see the destination queue is 1, 2, 3, 4. Which actually doesn't make a ton of sense. Four, 0, and 2. Should be a 1 in there. There's a 1. And we can see this destination queue starting to build up, which I don't remember. It's been way too many years, so I don't really remember how this destination queue works. Challenge failed. So we're printing out our destination queue. How about if after we go to the floor number that somebody has pushed, we'll go to the floor of the destination queue. Say, I don't know, the length of it. we can just go 0. Let's see if this one passes for one. That one failed. That one failed. And we transported 17 people on that one. We did 20 that time. 15 people. So we definitely need, we're getting a lot of failures here, so we definitely need to update this a little bit. And I will be right back. All right, so I'm back here. Let's see. All right, looks like it's working. And so far, nobody in the chat. This may not have been the best time to stream something silly like this, but that's all right. So, where were we? We were failing the challenge most of the time. Maybe your program needs an improvement. I would say it does. So, we're printing out the destination queue. And one of the things I could do is it's one of the basic rules of development, man. Always just console everything out while you're building and developing. So we'll say we are going to floor, and we'll just check this against the destination queue. So we'll apply, restart, and then let's go through our console logs. Actually, I'm going to clear all of these out so they're not confusing, and I'll just rip through it really quick. So we'll look at it, and it says we are going to floor 0, destination queue 340. Then it says we're going to floor 3, we're going to floor 3, destination queue just has 3, we're going to floor 3, going to floor 4, which was up there, and then now we have 3 in. So it's a little interesting, right? Now we have 432, 430. It looks like it's trying to follow that, but check something really quick. And I probably, what I really should have done was gone through some of my old code. I have some old code stored somewhere for this game, and remember how I attacked some of that. So when a floor button is pressed, this. kind of thinking maybe I should just let's try just shifting that really quick. Floor. Challenge still failed. And I probably should put some more comments in here, but and look, our destination queue is just huge before that last one. So let's slow it down and see if we can see what's really happening here. You can see it's starting. Clear that console out. It says destination queue 0. We're going to floor 0. Cool. Now we've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Got a big destination queue. Is shift actually popping off when we go? That's what we'll find out here. I think a lot of what's happening here is I'm not understanding this destination queue thing very well. So let's take out the go to floor 0, or we already did that. So let's start putting in some comments. Let's go there. So we're going to floor here, and then let's display the destination queue. Just put dest queue. Let's go to the first in queue. This is where we're going. That queue. I mean, on idle function, we might be able to just check the destination queue. That might be the only thing that we really need to do. Let's try that. Let's comment. Apply. Looks like our elevator is just filling up with people. I would have thought when the floor button was pressed, like number 3, it says we are going to floor, and then elevator go to floor, I would have thought that it would do that. So let's try this. When it's idle, let's check the destination queue and just go to that next one. It still looks like it's just hanging now. So that probably wasn't the best thing to do. We'll apply, apply, maybe even save it. Let's start it again. Now it looks like the idle elevator function is pretty important because right now it's just filling up with people. So let's see, we do have a if elevator get pressed, floor's length is Let's try this. Let's forget about that destination queue for a bit. We'll say up button pressed. Why am I in caps lock? There we go. We'll say console.log up button. So it's important to know that we're capturing this event that broke. And it's a problem with getting that floor object. We won't worry about the floor object right now. Let's do get press floors. Buttons were pressed. So let this run for a little bit. Not sure why, but it appears my music has stopped. And that's fine. That'll work. Okay, so here, as we can see, we're not going to any floors, which we need to be going to floors. And it says buttons were pressed. So let's look at get pressed floors. Gets the currently pressed floor numbers as an array. We'll search and we'll do a for each on that. And I have to look this up because I haven't done JavaScript in so long. I think we can just pass this into a function with item index array, something like that. I think elevator press floors. This is how rusty I am. Don't even remember how to for each into a JavaScript very well. So let's just do a console log of that element. Yikes. That is some good breakage right there. I mean, according to the documentation here, this should be an array. It's named like function, but it should be an array. So let's run it. After I delete all this mess of garbage. Yeah, it's an object, okay. We can pause it. So what if we just do elevator go to floor? Pretty sure that won't work, but the elevator's moving. Just don't know if it's moving in the right place. So destination queue 0, going to floor 0, going to floor 2. I think we're getting closer. But I also think we should just go to this elevator destination queue. That does not work. Looks like it went one time there. It's close, but not what we want this thing to do. So I can definitely tell I need to go back and get a little bit better at this game before I do this again. Because I'm doing terribly. Let's just go through our floors again. We'll hit apply. And as you can see, it's not really, I mean, it's just kind of randomly going to floors. It's not ideal, so definitely going to try to figure out where people want to go. Let's slow it back down. Start it. So it went to 2. Now it says go to 0. That should have went back down to 0 because we got people waiting there anyway. And it just went by 1. So let's look at the API documentation a little bit closer here. Go to floor. We already know that if elevator current floor is greater than 2, when current floor gets floor number, it's currently on. Listening for events, ventilator idle, floor button pressed, up button pressed. I'm assuming there's got to be down button pressed also. So we're doing a little bit of listening on floor button pressed. But it doesn't seem to be the way. Like, we're catching that event, then we're going to that floor that it wants to go to, and then we try to do this destination queue stuff. We probably shouldn't even bother with that. We should just go to that floor, and then when it's idle, we'll go loop through them sequentially again. So I'll apply. I'll turn this back up and see what happens. And we completed it, but there's no confidence here. I know the second time I run this, it'll fail. There's no confidence. So we're going to 0, 2, 1, 0, 3, 4. I'll make sure and put this in here. Button pressed. Apply. Run it again. Okay, button pressed. We're going to, and we're moving the right amount of people just by doing this. But as we see, we just had a failure. So my confidence is not super high. Looks like we're failing about 50% of the time, maybe more. So, button pressed, we're going to floor num, whatever. I wonder if you can set the elevator to idle after that. And I do think that going on the up button pressed is probably a pretty good way to go. Because the most people seem to come in on floor 0, right? And they press the up button every time. So here we might want to say, but floor num is not passed in on this one. So there's a problem there, right? And if we just try to pass it in, try to override, I don't think that's going to work. Nope. So maybe when the up button is pressed, we just need to go to 0. Because it's most likely somebody from 0. And this particular algorithm might get us by for a while. Oh, that's that floor object that I can't seem to get anything out of the floor object right now. So we're going to kind of ignore it. We'll just deal with elevator commands right now. And we could do that. We could assign that true, so that if the floor button is pressed, we'll go to floor no matter what. And that in a way will set like a priority for that floor. See, there's a success. There's a fail. Still, if this fails, it's 50%. Yep. 50%. I would say. But basically we're saying we're going to go to this floor no matter what. If somebody presses this button, go to this floor, we're going to go there. I'm going to do something here really quick. See if this just floods like crazy as these things are going. Yeah, updates called a lot. So if while we update, we could jump into that queue. Could just put elevator check destination queue for our update. That seems like a thing we should check all the time. Let's just try making the elevator go. And we'll have to redefine this in here. And then we'll say elevator go to floor. Destination queue 0. And that just blew apart. Problem with your code, line 77. Which we're going to have 77 here. But let's see. Yeah, I think it does have a problem with scoping here, so. But we could just make it check the destination queue because that's one of the things that needs to be updated according to the documentation. And instantly I can see what I did wrong here. We're going to try to cheat this a little bit here and say elevator go to floor. And what was that? Elevator destination queue. And this is one of those things I know is not exactly the right thing to do. But let's see if we can get a little better with 50%. Getting a lot more success this time around. There's another fail. I'm going to say 75% success rate from this one. This method. That's kind of interesting. Can't access that. And actually, I think right here, this is what I need to put in here. If we've got elevator buttons pressed. Is there maybe a time that they are not? Nope. Can't access this. So it can't access this destination queue in a console log. Let's just try console log. Going somewhere, right? It's going somewhere. Yep, you can see going somewhere. So, getting press floors here. Oh, let's see. It's a little bit tricky. I think I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be right back.
circling like vultures round my brain. Couldn't see the danger in your eyes. Draw me in, got me spinning now like water to a drain. You were perfect till I realized you hadn't shown your face. You sing a pretty song to drag my heart along. A siren serenade, you're ringing out your praise. Your love's a wreck and you know it's wrong. I was deaf to the ringing bells, wanting me to break, deafened by the sirens' soothing lies. I can't leave, I am in too deep, been sinking for a while, prisoner to the same thing I despise, devoted to a fake. You sing a pretty song to drag my heart along. A siren serenade, you're ringing out your praise. Your love's a wreck and you know it's wrong. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. You sing a pretty song to drag my heart along. A siren serenade, you're ringing out your praise. Your love's a wreck and you know it's wrong. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. It's over, same story. You lose to love and glory. Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break the keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it brew. Enough to go insane, living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your own prison cell. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste it on me. Did I brush you off? Is it your lack of friends? We never met, even if you pretend. Am I in your debt? I don't owe you nothing. Don't say something you'll regret. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you, don't waste today. Feels like I fell 1,000 times. Nothing but doubt to flood my mind. 'Cause sometimes it's hard to remember why I ever started racing with my dreams. A restless December, feeling I was meant for more than I believed. I'll never surrender, rather try and fail and fall 1,000,000 times. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I know as close as I am now, I will struggle, I will shout. There's no stopping, there's no doubt. I'm on my way. There's no stopping, there's no doubt. I'm on my way. I swear I meant to do this. I'm told that love would never lie. Where my head has met my heart and they are beautifully aligned. But sometimes it's hard to remember everything I've done that's brought me to this space. I started with embers, now a raging fire is burning in its place. I'll never surrender, rather try and fail and fall 1,000,000 times. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I know as close as I am now, I will struggle, I will shout. There's no stopping, there's no doubt. I'm on my way. There's no stopping, there's no doubt. I'm on my way. I know as close as I am now, I'm on my way.
There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Billy O' Tea. The winds blew hard.